Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel, to my wonderland. It is coffee time and today I'm here to talk to you about big books. So I still have some big books on my TBR, on my shelves, and I want to lose a little bit that fear for chunky books, and I decided this year to make a TBR of chunky books that I need to read in 2019. I decided to pick only 10, so that is less than one book per month. I might add some later, but I wanted to keep it as realistic as possible. So let's check the 10 chunky books I need to read in 2019. So big books, for me, I'm counting books that are over 500 pages. The first book I want to mention, I don't have the copy I'm going to read yet because it's on its way to me on the mail as we speak. It is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. Now, I've already read this book back then, long time ago, and I read it in Spanish, and I still have the Spanish paperback, but I really want to read the book in English because it's one of those books that I read a couple of times when I was in Spain as a teenager, and I've only read it in Spanish. So since the new movie is coming out in April 2019, I'm going to reread the book in English this time, and then I'm gonna watch Pet Sematary 1 and Pet Sematary 2 because I do have the DVDs as well, and then I'll be all ready for the new retake, the new remake of Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So the story is basically about a pet cemetery where it is believed that if you bury an animal, it would come back to life. However, they do not come back as they were. They come back changed. And so it is about what would you do if somebody you love or a pet that you love would die. Would you bury them there? Would you be ready to receive them when they come back? Because you know they're not gonna come back, as they were. The next book I want to talk to you about, it's Renegades by Marissa Meyer, and I still have not read this one, and Arch Enemies just came out, so it's perfect read for 2019 and also a big book over 500 pages. We live in a society where everything is reigned by chaos, and then we have the renegades, and the renegades are these humans with like these superpowers, and so the renegades are trying to bring a little bit of peace into the world and fight the evil. Basically, they're kind of superheroes, and I love the Lunar Chronicles so much that I'm dying to read this one, and I hope it also hooks me up real good, and I'm super intrigued about the plot. Then I have Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, because when this book came out, I bought it because it's J.K. Rowling, and it's been sitting on my shelves ever since, which is very shameful. So I really want to read this because I want to read something by J.K. Rowling out of the Harry Potter world, so this definitely needs to happen in 2019. I believe it's set in a small town where everything seems to be perfect, but then we discover all the problems are between the kids, between parents and their children, between husbands and wives. So I think it's gonna be kind of like family drama kind of thing. I don't really know, but I'm guessing it's just gonna discover all the secrets that are behind happy faces that we cross every day, and we think everybody's happy but they're not. So it's gonna be something like that, so totally different from Harry Potter, and I'm really excited about it. Then we have The Rig by Roger Levi, and this is a book that I got because it is, I think, a science fiction book about some sort of like post-apocalyptic world. The story was so interesting to me. It's basically we're living in a world where God has abandoned us, and there is this guy obsessed with death that creates this thing, kind of an afterlife program, and I think it depends how many votes or followers or whatever you get, you have a chance of resurrection once you die. So this is basically what I remember from it, and it sounds so interesting and so intriguing. I really want to get to it because it also sounds very different from other things, and I'm dying to dig into this book. Then I have The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. The reason why, it's because I think this book is going to be kind of funny and witty, and it's gonna be like fresh. I'm not really sure, but a lot of people mentioned it in 2018. A lot of people read it and said it was really cool, and I just picked it up because it sounded like something I don't normally read, and I'm just intrigued about it. I didn't want to read too much about the plot. and I'll just go into it without many expectations though, because I don't think it's like a serious book or anything like that. So I'll just consider this as an enjoyable read that I can read maybe when I have a reading slump. Then we have Draw the Line by Lauren Lean. I picked this one up when I was in England because I saw this cover and it caught my attention. And also it is a book that it has some pages in between that are like comic style pages. And I thought this is a very nice, interesting format. I'm gonna get that. It is about a sci-fi obsessed geek, and the problem with him is that he's gay and he lives in Texas. So people there are not very, you know, welcoming of people in the LGBT community, and he tries to deal with his problems and with his feelings by drawing comics because it's something he's really passionate about. And I just thought this sounded so interesting and I really want to know more about the character. So I decided to pick it up, and sadly I did not read it in 2018. So this needs to happen in 2019 because it's again one of those books that sounds kind of, you know, interesting but different, and I definitely need to get to it. Then we have, surprise surprise, Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, which is the sequel to Vicious, which was one of my favorite books of 2018. So of course I now need to read the sequel. In the first book we follow Victor and Ellie, and they are students and they are supposed to work in a project, but things get a little bit out of hand when they come to the conclusion that whoever has a near-death experience gets superpowers. So they want to test it, and they want to test it by trying to kill themselves and see what happens. So everything gets a little bit out of control, and it is so well written and so fantastic. Like, you cannot stop reading Vicious. It's so good, and so I'm dying to see what she did with this one, which is also a bigger book, so more content. Yes, give it all to me, and super pumped for this one. Then we have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I need to read this book. Everybody's saying it is so good, and Muse of Nightmares, the second book, already came out. So I really need to get to this one, and I could not tell you a single thing about the plot because most people try not to say too much about it, and they say, you know, you should go into the book and try to enjoy it. They do mention though that it is kind of like a slow-paced book, which I don't have anything against. If a book is well written, I don't care if it's slow-paced or fast-paced or a lot of action or not. If it's well written, it doesn't matter. And I'm super excited to read it because I'm going into it with a lot of mystery, not knowing what's there. So definitely a book to read in 2019. Then we have Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and I want to read this book because it is about magic. Everybody has been talking so good about it, and I still have not got to it. So I love anything that has to do with magic and superpowers, and I believe in this book we are following some characters that are trying to bring back magic after it was banned. So sounds interesting, and I really hope that it's going to be as good as I expect it to be because it is a very hyped book. So, you know, sometimes hyped books tend to be hit or miss because the hype sometimes it's more than what the book is, but we will see. I hope that it's good though. And the last one is Sleeping Beauties by Stephen and Owen King, and you've probably also seen this one in other of my videos because it's a book that I really want to get to, but I never did in 2018. So basically following a story in which we are in a world where women start to fall asleep and they enter this kind of cocoon state, and then they don't wake up. There is no way to wake them up. Whatever they try at hospitals, etc., nothing works. And then suddenly in a jail facility, all the inmates start to fall asleep and never wake up except one of them. One of them doesn't get affected by this, and they don't know why. So there is a lot of mystery involved of why isn't she having the same effects. I'm super interested in the story, and also I'm interested to see how Owen and Stephen King together work as writers. So this will be definitely a 2019 read. So these are all the big books that I plan to read in 2019. Let's hope for the best. Let's keep, you know, optimistic. It's the beginning of the year and I have all 12 months to get to them, and they are only 10 books. Let me know down below, are you afraid of big books? Are you planning on reading any big books this year? Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. All my other social media is listed down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!